Marketing can generate awareness, leads, and sales, but what happens after someone says yes? Today, we're talking about why businesses need to be prepared for the growth they create. Joining me today is Emily, who helps mid-market construction companies identify risk before they become costly problems. We'll discuss how marketing, operations, risk management work together to build a stronger business. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So tell us about your background and what led you to risk management.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my career in tech sales in California a little bit over 10 years ago and did some work in family office as well. But I was finding I wanted something a little bit more relationship based rather than just loving your clients and leaving them and passing them off to service.
Right.
And I'd been referring over to the Baldwin Group for a number of years. So it was an easy transition for me to make the leap of faith. And I specifically decided to work in construction because we have such strong expertise in that space. And it's honestly really exciting to see all of the projects that are going on in South Florida here.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, actually. I was going to ask you what inspired you to shift into the construction field from tech.
Yeah, I think really rather than reinventing the wheel, I'd rather work with people that are best in class in the space. So that led me to really want to work in the construction and real estate space predominantly.
Especially being in South Florida, the East and the West Coast. I know you go back and forth often. There's so much business to be done here, and there's so many things being built and being knocked down and rebuilt. It's a very exciting time.
Yeah, especially in the Tri-County area, and then I think along the Space Coast too. It's often pretty underserved, so that's why I ended up going there last night for a ABC construction event.
And back here.
Back at it.
Yes. And we have some construction clients as well. And I think people underestimate what a business that is and what an opportunity that is. There's always, clients and work to be done and money to be made in the construction industry.
Definitely.
So why do businesses often prioritize growth before they're ready for it?
I think businesses often prioritize growth because they're excited when they launch their business. But I think oftentimes they don't have the things in place from a safety perspective or project planning perspective. A lot of things can be delayed, or I think, cost-wise, there's a lot of construction businesses that can frequently be shut down because of costs.
Yes. And I think that reminds me too of, I feel like people just get money hungry sometimes, or they find pressure from people above them or investors of we have to do this sale, we have to get this, we have to get that, when things are not in place.
Yeah.
For a bit, when we were building GOAT social media, I white labeled with some agencies because I didn't have enough clients on my own, to fully, round out what I wanted to make when I was first starting my agency. So I was like, sure, I'll white label with some other companies.
Yeah.
And there was one in particular that was a massive agency, and they had a massive sales team. And the sales teams would sell things left and right. But then by the time the project manager took that business's marketing plan and their information, and then it made it down to us, the clients were already mad because the sales team promised, you'll have millions of followers, you'll have this, you'll have that, and everything's gonna be done fast, and our team is the best of the best.
Sure.
But no expectations were set.
Yeah.
So that was really hurting their business because people were canceling before I even really got to get into the work. Or once I even got started, they were already frustrated, and it felt like we were having to almost exceed expectations because they were so disappointed from the start.
Sure.
Because salespeople were selling things that don't exist, or that it's just not how it works. So I think that sometimes is an issue as well.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a lot of project management and being able to, keep your clients aware of, where you are in the project and resource allocation, budget, and so forth. It all kind of ties back together.
Exactly. So we don't white label now, but it's something that being on that side of it, I really am very, very adamant with my clients of setting expectations. And sometimes it seems negative. They're you're well, this is what it's going to be, or it's going to take time. But I tell them, look, I'd rather, tell you what it is and then exceed that, and you be happy than you be disappointed or know that things will take time. And then we just set a realistic expectation.
Yeah.
People just want to know.
Huge. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. I agree.
So where do you see marketing and risk management overlapping?
Yeah, as far as marketing and risk management, I think I touched on briefly, but things like OSHA, safety is super important because a lot of construction companies are really selling themselves on how safe they are as an organization when they're going out and bidding projects. If they have, their workers' comp, their ratings not so great, you have to have a story behind it. I think like with everything too, you really have to have a story and a reason why things are the way they are.
Yes, and we talk about having a story all the time because I think, especially in the world of like AI and a lot of just, digital and social media, people are forgetting people are at the heart of everything.
Yeah.
Or social media was meant to be social. So having stories, people can relate to that, and it really like bridges that gap and makes things feel human. And then for some of our construction clients, we do a lot of posts of like safety, and we mention like OSHA, or we'll talk about like, toolbox talks of like, this is how you can be, like, just to have that content there.
Yeah.
So when they are bidding and looking for projects, then they look at their social media and they see like, oh, they actually do talk and say what they do.
Yeah, most of the time you won't get turned down from a project as long as you have a good story behind it. Had, a client of mine recently that had a less than great, workers' comp rating. So we went ahead and chatted with them, talked with them about some specific strategies that they can do. And, they had a good story behind it. So coach them on how to be able to communicate that with their prospective clients and existing clients as well.
Yeah. And that word communicate that you said is so crucial. I think people forget it, or like they know it, but they forget that not everyone knows what they're trying to say. So it's communicating that way the other person understands. So when we talk about, marketing, sometimes marketing works too well and growth can expose weaknesses, and operations, can struggle to keep pace with the marketing, and every customer interaction really does impact a brand. So I want to kind of dive deeper into that and ask you what happens when a company grows faster than its systems.
Yeah, so sometimes I've had some clients in the past where, I think cash flow type of issues. Maybe they have more seasonality in their workflow. So I think, they have really strong plans for growth, or they're small, growing business, but I think maybe not taking on the right projects. I've had some prospects where it didn't make sense for them from like a retainer perspective. So figuring out what model works from a pricing perspective in order to really, stay afloat and be a successful business.
Yeah, and we see that with a lot of startups and a lot of clients of ours too, when they're, either it's seasonality, like you said, or they're really eager, new, and green. A lot of times people will take anything just to take it, but that's usually what bites you in the butt in the end because it's not aligned, it's not right. And that's usually, your most miserable customer or someone that you just like butt heads with. So it's interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah.
How can business owners prepare before investing heavily in marketing?
Yeah, I think, with construction, it's getting your safety in place, having those procedures in place to be able to, best put yourself out there, being really organized. I've seen some organizations where everything's super siloed with, a lot of different brokers, and trying to get everything in one single source of truth, if you will, is super difficult. So I think staying organized is super important as well.
It is, especially when companies are reaching out to agencies like ourselves to help market them and to help bring it, to life. If they're not organized, whether it be construction or any company, if you don't know who you are and you're not organizing, you don't have, the basics in place, it's almost hard to market.
Yeah.
Or it's hard to get that vision out because then everyone's kind of scrambling to figure out what. So there does need to be some sort of like structure in place.
Yeah, and having similar visions in line. I think, I've had some developers that I've worked with where, they have certain deadlines for projects, of course, and then they're looking at, interior costs, which causes more project delays, which is very costly.
Yes. And then you have, other people on the line waiting, or future tenants who expect to be in somewhere by a certain time. So definitely. What warning signs tell you that a business isn't ready to scale?
I would say, again, disorganization and, kind of cash flow, having a real, a strong finance function as well. I can really, quickly sink a ship if you don't have finances in line and the right personnel. I had, some folks that I've worked with where, they were thinking about ridding one of their key members in the finance team, they were like, no, wait, we can't. This is like a key operating function of how we go about doing business.
I mean, everything comes back down to money. Always. I think people forget that too. That you have to have money to spend money and to make money. So kind of shifting on to more about protecting the brand that you've built, in general. Something we talk about with a lot of businesses and clients is that a reputation is your greatest asset, and that customer experience is really part of marketing always. And it's better to be proactive versus reactive. I've seen a lot of that on TikTok lately. There's actually this whole drama. Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, but I don't. I'm
so there's
consumer.
So there is a big drama about this wedding dress designer in New York, which is so funny because I am not in the market for a wedding dress anytime soon. But there is, her name or her brand is like Undone by Kate. She does a lot of like second looks and like unique, so not necessarily gowns, more like, and I guess this girl had some whole issue with her fitting and the payments, and she basically like tore this designer apart on TikTok. But didn't say the name of the company. She's like, I'm not trying to disparage this person. I'm just sharing my story. So if you are getting a custom dress, yada yada, maybe you can learn from my mistakes. Well, that business owner, this is why the TikTok drama is juicy. That business owner went out and made her own video and like called it out and like said her side of the story, but no one knew it was her.
Oh gosh.
So her calling it out was being really reactive. And then it made such a mess because everyone started being like, well, I had that scenario. Or like, I didn't know you were talking about Kate. This is my story with Kate. And it made a mess.
Yeah, yikes.
Versus if they were proactive and not reactive, they could have a lot of brides and happy people, have content flowing, go viral for positive things. And then if one thing does happen where someone is not happy, maybe you just give that person the refund and then you go on your merry way and you don't have to keep bringing attention to it. But they brought so much attention to it that now it's like blown up her business.
Yeah, you have to like go, you have to definitely have like temperance in everything you do, whether it be your words, certain actions you take, moderation.
Definitely, which leads me to ask you, how can one mistake impact a company's reputation?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, people are quick to remember that one bad thing that you did and never remember all of the good things that you ever done, whether it be personal, professional, what have you. So, perception is reality. Having a background in my early days in PSA, they would frequently utilize that phrase, perception's reality. So I think it was definitely one of those things that kind of shaped my early career. And I would say in relative stories, I've had some folks that I've worked with that, word on the street is like, they are slow to pay back clients and so forth. So that kind of reputation puts a bad taste in people's mouths for years to come without necessarily realizing.
Yeah, it really matters. And I think that's something we even come across with our agency because we have some clients who are like nervous to like give us full access to their social media accounts. And I'm always like, look, this is my whole business. I'm not trying to like steal your social media account. Like that would look really bad for me and my company. Like trust is what we have.
Yeah.
Like if people were saying we stole their accounts, we would not be in business. So like you have to trust who you're giving access to. And I mean, it goes beyond that, but that's just an example that comes to mind right away. And I'm like, that matters.
Yeah, I think everything comes down to trust.
And what role does communication play when these challenges arise?
I think, like the project management phrase of eat the frog, like I think addressing it as quickly as possible. I had a real estate client that had a deadline at 5 p.m. Friday, and I was going around to some of the folks I work with on our small business side, reaching out, like, who can I get to help me get this accomplished by the end of the day?
Yeah.
And it was like 3:34 on a Friday, so it was crickets, especially in the summer sometimes.
Yes.
So I communicated with them quickly and, told them, hopefully we can work together in the future, but I don't think this, deadline, we can talk early next week, but I don't think we're going to be able to accomplish this today.
Yeah. And at least you said something versus being like, yeah, we're working on it. Or like, yeah, it's possible. Or like, 10 more minutes, and they never get it.
Right.
Like you were upfront, you were honest, and that's how it has to be. So Emily, we close out every episode with 2 quick questions and you're up. The first one is, what's your current favorite social media platform and why? And this could be personally and business, both.
Yeah, so for business, definitely LinkedIn. I try to post like at least once a week, so I would say I'm most active there.
Yeah, and it's important for your networking. Like you just
Yeah.
went to an event last night, and it's like if you're not following up, not posting, not engaging with people you're meeting, it's a big gap.
Yeah, it's a nice another touch point when I'm going through and doing my cold calls, cold outreach. I'll
Exactly.
go through Zoom info, connect with the CFOs on LinkedIn if they're active. There's a lot of people that link photos, especially in the
Isn't it
construction
wild?
space.
Yes,
But,
yes.
yeah, definitely.
People need to have, they take away one thing from this episode, it's to update your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Because people really don't. They have a lot of like empty photos or job titles are missing.
Big facts, or it's not aligned with their company brand.
Yes, yes. It's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And what's one social media trend that you wish would disappear?
I think perfectionism. They're in like the world of AI. There's more and more fake videos and what's real, what's not. Let's try to keep it authentic as we can.
If I had $1 for every time we film an episode and the word authentic and authenticity comes up,
Yeah.
I would have many a dollars
I
because
bet.
it always comes up because it's so true. And I think especially after COVID, like the filters and like the everything being so like curated and edited kind of went away. People wanted to see more real. And I think some people are now shifting more back into like the over edited and perfectionism.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, keeping it real is making you stand out.
Right. Yeah. I think I only had like one edited photo on my Instagram, and I had like a friend was like, oh, let me like do this for you. And I was like,
No.
sure. But I think that was
Right.
the only time I really like edited
Yes.
like a photo, and like more than I would ever. But yeah.
Yeah, and
so
you
true.
want people, even if it's personal or professional, you want people to see what you look like online is going to be real in person. Like we're not trying
Yeah.
to catfish people.
Right.
And if you are, I think we're all beyond that. Or like it's that
Yeah.
MTV like TV show. Like, oh
100%.
no,
Yeah.
definitely. So where can listeners connect with you and learn more about your work?
Yeah. So the best way to connect with me would be on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
Emily Spahn.
Okay, great. And I'll link it in the show notes.
Awesome.
And, remember for our listeners that marketing can bring people through the door, but your business has to be ready when they arrive. Growth isn't just about generating more leads. It's about delivering on the promises your brand makes every day. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of You Heard It Here. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with another business owner.